Good morning, Big Brother fans. It is Thursday, July 12th, and we are now entering the fourth week for the house guests in the Big Brother house. They entered the house 3 weeks ago yesterday, Wednesday, and so they've been there for 4 weeks, or this is their fourth week. We'll have our second eviction this evening. Let's be clear that it's probably Swaggy that's going home. I don't expect a cliffhanger. CBS may try to paint a cliffhanger, but I really do not expect Winston to be in too much danger. It is possible that the whole house could, well, not the whole house, Bailey won't, but it's possible that almost everyone decides not to make a wave and to jump on the vote out Swaggy, even though some of the house guests may be wearing Swaggy shirts. We'll see. It was more at the beginning of the night last night than it was at the end. I thought Haley said she was going to wear a shirt with Swaggy's name on it, but at the end she was saying she wasn't. So we'll see what happens with that. I feel bad for Swaggy. When he's not all bravado and that, he seems like he's an intelligent guy. And I think he actually could have been fun to watch if he had toned it down a little bit from the over-the-top loudness that he hit the ground running with. You know, his Swaggy C persona was just a bit too much for the likes of his fellow house guests, as far as being intimidating and a bit off-putting, I believe. There was a thing, and I don't think I did this yesterday, but very briefly, Pop TV had interviews with the house guests, and one of the questions they asked him was, who was the reason? So there's a character, there's the owl character called BB Orwell, or just called Orwell, that they use on Big Brother After Dark, and it's just their mascot, and they asked all the house guests who it was named after. What was he named after? And they were all, of the 16 house guests, there were only 3 house guests that knew that the connection is that Big Brother, even though there was a lawsuit about it and Enderball kind of won, is named after the theme of the 1984, or the book 1984 by George Orwell, who also wrote Animal Farm, which is another book that many of you probably have heard of at the very least. So 1984 and Animal Farm are two very famous books, both written by George Orwell. So the owl character is that's where the name reference is. Only 3 people in the Big Brother house knew that connection, and that was, and this is where if I did this yesterday, I'm sorry, but just a little bit of, think about it for a second. Those of you that hadn't seen it or don't know, the first one is fairly easy, and that would be Steve. Some people saying it's because, nobody under the age of 25 would know this, or under the age of 30 would know this, because, I don't know, maybe you don't have to read that book anymore in school. I know that it was, Animal Farm at the very least was required reading, and those of you that are around in 1984, the year, and obviously many of you weren't, or many people weren't. I don't know the age demographics of the people that actually listen to me ramble on, but many people remember the Apple commercial based on 1984, and the year 1984 obviously played significance when it came about, because the book was written in the 50s, I think. So it's a very old book, but 1984 came around and it kind of got a little bit of a resurgence and a little bit talked about. So it's George Orwell. Steve was the obvious one that, okay, he probably knows. The question was, I was very surprised at the 2 others, because there were only 3 that knew. Only 3 knew right away what the answer was. It didn't have to be told and go, oh yeah. The second one, they really didn't surprise me. The second one that I knew was Sam. Sam knew. Sam's much smarter, much more well-read than her accent and overalls the stereotype would make you think. She's smart. She used, I said it in our first thing, she used really big words in her interview. She used a couple of big words like, whoa, that's not in everybody's dictionary. So it's like she knows what's going on. She's fairly smart or fairly well-read. I don't want to say smart versus well-read. I'm just saying she was aware of George Orwell. So she actually gave the exact was by 1984 by George Orwell, who also did Animal Farm, or whatever she says. Like, yep, she knows it. And then the last one was Swaggy. Swaggy knew George Orwell. So, it was like, all right, Swaggy, yep, you know what's going on. You're not, all talk and don't know a whole lot. So Swaggy was the other one. So everybody else had no clue, except for, Winston said he knew when he was doing it. Oh, yeah. Oh, by the way, did you know the main character's name is Winston? Okay, fine. You do know Winston once you were reminded, but you didn't know it off the top of your head. And I think a lot of us know that. So, why did they get off that tangent? I don't know. But let me get back on on the road talking about the eviction. So, Swaggy, I think he would have been enjoyable if he hadn't come on so strong. So, but he's going to get evicted tonight. And he tried last night to campaign, but Tyler's got Caitlyn, and Caitlyn is very much one of those. The last person that she talks to is how her vote's probably going to go. And Tyler said, I don't know if Tyler said somebody or something, or he basically is like, I can't leave you alone. I'm not going to leave you alone tomorrow, or something to that effect. It's like, yeah, he knows. Just stay tight to her so that nobody else can get to her. That's what he's going to do to make sure that she. I don't think it's going to be a tie vote, anyways. And the question is going to be is who's going to go next? Who's going to be evicted or the next head of household? And that's where this is all going to spin. Oh, there are rumors out there that Steve is in sequester and might have a chance to come back. Steve's been told too much about the game. He's done multiple interviews right after he first got out. So no, I don't think Steve's coming back in. The account that has been attributed to be his account that is being run by his family, which we still haven't verified or anything, stated that he's been told he has to stay off social media until the show's over. That's not been the case in past seasons. That doesn't mean it's not the case this season, because we also got the Vegas account on Twitter said that the house guests have been talking to the cameras a lot, but CBS is intentionally not showing that on the live feeds. They're not giving them their camera time. If they talk to the cameras directly, they're not getting put out over the live feeds. And I don't know if that's true, but this account's fairly accurate on a lot of stuff. So even if it's slightly true, it's like, come on, really? And the excuse was that they didn't want to give them a social media. I don't know. Come on, really? Why would you do that? And if for no other reason, then that is how we gain a lot of our information on what the actual true intentions of the house guests are, because they're lying to each other in the house all the time. And the one time I expect that they're going to be truthful, except for in very few rare instances where you have house guests that even lie to the cameras, and we have seen that, is when they're talking to the cameras. That's the only time they let us know what's going on in their brain. So I'm kind of annoyed by that. So that happened. The TV show last night, the veto competition was fine, but it was fairly simple and straightforward, and it was a time thing, and Tyler won it, obviously. The yelling thing, okay, it was entertaining. We knew a little bit more about things that happened than they showed, just that Rachel was having a really good time with it for the most part. So that was fine. And then at the end of last night's TV show, there was a teaser. Well, the show TKO came on, and it had its first episode, which has what's his name, Hart, is the host. And at the very end of it, Kevin Hart. At the very end of it, they teased for next week And guess who's going to be on next week's episode? Understand, this was taped, and Scott looked it up. It's taped basically back in March. Or not March, May. So this was taped in May, these episodes. But Tyler is on it. So Tyler actually was on TKO back in May, right before he got on to Big Brother. And now we've also heard, and I hadn't heard this until last night, that he was a finalist for Big Brother Over the Top. And the Willett sisters, that would be Morgan and Alex, who were on Big Brother Over the Top, have hung out with Tyler and kind of know him. Now, apparently they may have gotten to know him. They either got to know him because of the casting process, or after Big Brother Over the Top, they got to know him. So they've kind of hung out together to a certain extent. So there's this, what I called an incestuous thing going on with, and this is nothing new. You hear about it on reality TV and casting and all that. So as it turns out, the other thing that, and I did find it for myself, but I don't think I was the only one that figured it out. Robin Cass, who is been the casting person for Big Brother for years and years and years, was also the casting supervisor for TKO. So you know that she basically was she involved in Over the Top? Yeah, she was involved in Over the Top casting, I think. And so she knew Tyler because he was involved in Over the Top. And then she has her book of potential people to cast for different shows, because she does all kinds of shows, not just Big Brother. And she goes, I can put him on TKO. She gets him on TKO, but he's also going through the process for Big Brother, and he gets on Big Brother. Or maybe he wasn't at the time. Some of these people get on like a week or two before the show starts. You think that this process goes on for months, and it does for some people. For other people, they're thrown on the show a week before. It's very possible that Tyler got the heads up a week before. I'm wondering how big a fan Tyler really is, or how much has he been reading up on Big Brother, educating himself because of Big Brother Over the Top. Is that how long he's been a fan? Since he almost got on Big Brother Over the Top, he started researching it and watching all the episodes and stuff. And I'm starting to think that may be more the case, but I have no proof. I'm just speculating. So I'm mostly annoyed that this is going on, and part of it is because then there's this perception that, he seems to be a bit of a protection favorite, doesn't he? I mean, this is a guy who the casting agent had him on. CBS knows that he's on a different show of the same thing. They're advertising TKO now with the specific thing of saying, "Oh, look, it's Tyler from Big Brother 20." Now, of course, some people seem to think that Tyler's getting out of the house to do this, or got out of the house to do this. No, this was done back in May. But it's just the fact that there's this crossover of a reality show character turning him into a star, and it's like, no one, it's like, okay, gosh, he's getting a great edit on CBS on Big Brother. I mean, you wouldn't want a guy that everybody hated necessarily to be on, and Tyler's not a hateable person, mind you. I don't know, it just kind of just annoys me. It just really annoys me. I'm just like, what the hell? Can we not keep things separate? So it's not someone said you're jealous or you're envious of Tyler. I'm not envious of Tyler. I'm not. It's not where I'm at in my place. Am I envious of the guys getting on TV shows? I guess sure, but that has nothing to do with why I'm annoyed with the fact that he's on TKO and Big Brother. I'm just. So, I have arrived at my job at work. I'm in my parking garage where I always park, and it's this person ahead of me in the parking garage thinks that they're going to find a parking spot at the very lower level. We're late to work, guy. We're here well after most people go to work, because I get here at the late end of the morning schedule for people, and this person is going 2 miles an hour down the row looking for an open spot, and there will not be an open spot for 3 more levels. Okay, that means you get to listen to me more. Okay, so that was annoying last night, but this is me. I get annoyed about stuff, and we'll talk about this on Saturday's podcast, by the way. Scott and Colette will probably poo-poo it, and I'll say I don't care. I'm still pissed off about it. What else to tell you about? just Caitlyn is just, oh God, she's really wishy-washy. All right, here we go. One other thing. Here's my one other bit, and it's something that I've been saying I don't care about. I don't want to talk about it, but I will touch on it for purposes of this. Caitlyn's boyfriend. Her boyfriend, if it's to be believed, is not happy, or maybe it's her ex-boyfriend, is not happy with Caitlyn's actions in the house, all right? I've even said I don't think she's actually wants to be romantically involved in these guys, but I do think that she's really making those overtures to kind of get her way with them. And this person has no idea where they're going. So the word came out again from the same Vegas account that her boyfriend had been, or her boyfriend's family or whatever, has contacted CBS and said, we don't want. The night before last, CBS, the cameramen were zooming in on the picture of Caitlyn and her boyfriend while she was in bed with Tyler, sitting there, snuggling, and the camera's doing this stuff. And they basically, this person says that the family's really upset, and they called up and said, you need to just stop showing those pictures. You can't do that, and whatever. Well, as it happens, last night, there's a shot of Caitlyn in the head of household room. There were probably multiple, but this is the one I noticed, and other people noticed as well. The camera pans. You can't go that way. What are you doing? That's not a parking spot. Okay, good. Get out of my way. The camera pans across the bedroom, and lo and behold, the picture of Caitlyn and her boyfriend is blurred out while it pans across it. So I'm like, I guess they did get to him. So that was kind of amusing in the fact that that's happening. And it's kind of, all right, yep. So Caitlyn's boyfriend's family got their way, and we won't be seeing his picture on the head of household on Big Brother anymore. So, yeah, there is that. I don't think Caitlyn's going to have a very happy household or she's going to have to patch things up with the boyfriend when she gets out. But I generally try not to care too much about what's going on outside the house. All right, guys, that is it now. I am done. It is, it's like we're less than 12 hours before the eviction tonight. So I hope you guys all have a great Thursday. Hopefully, the one other thing, they briefly accidentally opened the door to the backyard, and the house guests seemed to feel like they saw a voting booth kind of a setup. Who knows if it is going to be a voting booth tonight, but if it is, the house guests got a sneak peek. And it appeared like it was a voting booth, or it could be, it could be just something where they were all in booths doing the A/B or the yes, no, or the true, false, or whatever, which means that could be live on the show, which means that we may get a very quick return to the feeds after the show tonight, which will be good. I like those kind of things. I do not think Swaggy's going to have a chance to return after he's evicted. I think he's done, and I hope. I hope he's. I hope he does all right. I actually liked the non-over-the-top Swaggy I saw on the feeds, and he seems really fairly intelligent and seemed like he would be fairly interesting to be in the fan community. So I'm hopeful, because I do feel bad for the guy. I by the way, I didn't mind Steve either. I didn't mind Steve either, so I don't mean to snub Steve, but part of me just kind of feels bad, only because I think he had a lot more potential. I think Swaggy had a lot more potential than Steve did in the house. What else? That's it. Those of you that have never heard me do this before, this is my car cast. I do these usually 5, maybe 6, maybe 7 days a week in the mornings. I post them first on Spreaker, SPREAKER.com. If you follow me on Twitter at BBGOSSIP, you can see the tweets go out when these are posted, usually by 10 in the morning Eastern time. And otherwise then they eventually show up on iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, Well, not TuneIn yet. It's still not there yet, but it is on Google Play. It is on... Anyways, you're hearing it, so somehow you found it, so I'll shut up now. And hopefully Spotify. I just got the notice that it is supposed to be accepted to Spotify and should be showing up sometime shortly there, and it did just start showing up on iHeartRadio. It's kind of cool, by the way. And listen, any of you that have interest in doing this kind of stuff, if you have a topic you can talk about, look, I'm doing it. It's not, the only thing this is costing me is the Spreaker account that I'm paying for, but you could still do it on the free Spreaker account as well, I believe. So it's a good little site to go, but I do pay for my Spreaker account. It's $50 a year. And through them is who I got most of these submitted to get them up on all these different podcasting places. And it didn't, look at me. I'm not doing anything super fancy. Anybody could do this. So if you have a topic that's really interesting and you want to do it, try it out. Just don't expect a huge audience. Just know that you're going to reach a few people, but that's all it takes is a few people, and that will slowly grow over time if you're interesting to listen to. And as I think I'm not very interesting to listen to, anybody can do this. So thank you all for listening. And again, besides this thing, we do a podcast every Saturday, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Follow me on Twitter to hear about it, or you can go to bigbrotherpodcast.com for lots of links and details. All right, if you have any other questions, holler at me. We'll talk to you later. Have a good day. Bye-bye.